What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I actually am going to have two videos today. This one's actually going to be a roster moves video because there were some things done today, and then I will be getting my post-game analysis video for the Jets game soon after. So be on the lookout for that as well. But we are going to jump right into this roster moves video. So really, I put it straight to this tweet. I'm actually going to kind of talk about some other things that are like related as well. But I took it to this one tweet because it pretty much encompasses all the moves that were made today. So Dolphins are signing Duke Johnson and Sheldrick Redwine to the active roster. And real quick, when it comes to Duke Johnson, it seems as if they're signing him to the active roster because he's actually elevated up the depth chart and is probably going to be the starter going forward, which totally makes sense. And as I've said, I mean, when they signed Duke Johnson and Phillip Lindsay, I do like both of those moves. My only thing is, of course, when we get to the offseason, I hope that the Dolphins still address the position. I'm fine if they want to use Duke Johnson and Phillip Lindsay and then one or two of these other guys, maybe like a Myles Gaskin, especially since he's, a draft pick of this regime. I mean, that would be, potentially the fourth in line then. But if they want to use those guys as like, foundational pieces for the running back room, I'm fine with that. I actually like Phillip Lindsay and Duke Johnson and what they could potentially bring. I just think they still need to address it in the offseason and get, now, depending on how they handle the offseason, I would personally love to see them pour the majority. Obviously, they need to, okay. If they get Deshaun Watson or not, they need to pour money into the offensive line. It doesn't matter. But I, of course, would stay away from Deshaun Watson. I don't want to give up all that draft capital, et cetera, et cetera. I just want them to do what's right for Tua and this team and build around him because he can be a franchise guy. So I would like to see them in free agency get, two veteran offensive tackles or, maybe a tackle and a center, right? Via free agency, get that veteran offensive lineman to come in, spend the money on them, and then in the draft, that will then allow you to go after one of the top running backs, potentially with that 49ers pick in the first round. And you can get a guy like an Isaiah Spiller or a Breece Hall, potentially. And I think that would make that running back room, if I'm being honest at that point, I would say then the running back room is pretty complete. If you were to get a Breece Hall, especially, if you were to get like a Terron Armstead or one of these guys, right? Two of these guys on the offensive line. You improve your offensive line with two quality veterans, and then you add to the current running back room of Duke Johnson, Phillip Lindsay, and maybe one of these other guys as the base. You add to that room with a Breece Hall type running back. Bro, I would say that the running back room is pretty much complete at that point, right? Even if the offensive line, even with those improvements, it's still not an elite line, but they do raise their level of play and at least get to average and respectable as opposed to worst in the league. Anyway, Phillip Lindsay is activated, so is Jalen Waddle off the COVID list, so that's good. They did place Justin Coleman on the COVID reserve list today, and they cut safety, I believe he's a safety, Will Parks. The other couple things, safety Will Parks. So those are all of the roster moves. Obviously, we love to see Duke Johnson elevated, and hopefully he can contribute like he did yesterday, especially, and if the Dolphins do want to make a push down through these last three tough games, which are going to be really tough, and the reason why they're going to be really tough is because each of these teams has a really good defense, and they can all run the ball. So, and run the ball really well and really effectively. And especially since the next two games are going to be potentially, cold weather games, we'll have to see what the weather's like. But we're going to New Orleans. That one's probably going to be whatever. But like, especially Tennessee in particular, going to Nashville, that's probably going to be cold. So running the ball will certainly be useful. So these last three games are really tough, and if they want to make a push, they themselves will need to be able to run the ball certainly much better than they have been all season. and Duke Johnson gave you a spark of that, and I think Philip Lindsay can add to it. So that stuff's good. Obviously, Justin Coleman not going on the list, not so good. Will Parks, whatever. Obviously, with the new protocols, which I think are absolutely ludicrous and absurd, if your priority is health and safety. If your priority is health and safety, you don't make it so that players can come back quicker with less stringent requirements to do so if you care about people's health and spreading the virus and so on and so forth. But obviously we know that the NFL doesn't care about health and safety, and so that's not why they made the protocol. In fact, they're pretty open about it. They made the protocol, they changed the protocol rather, because they want to make sure that players can be available for the games and they don't have to cancel any games. It's clear. And also, let's note though that they made this requirement or changed it to this because they expect there to be more COVID cases. And lo and behold, just real quick, I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but I did want to mention it. Where is it? The league, not only have they, I mean, as of yesterday, they were way over 100 cases of COVID, but they just today added 40 players to the COVID list. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just real quick take a look, because there's Ian Rappaport put this out. So let's take a quick look at all of the players that are on the, I'm actually going to like and retweet that. Well, good Lord. I don't think anybody's going to be able to read that. So, yeah. Let me just, I guess I can barely read that. It's super low. All right. Well, anyway, I'll leave it alone. Point is, though, is man, the league is really got a serious COVID issue. That's playoffs. We don't care about that. Anyway, that was pretty much it, though. There is one other thing that I do want to add in there, because there was some news on Will Fuller today. Anyway, just to cap off the COVID thing, it's a huge problem. It's going to continue to be a huge problem. So that is something that we are going to have to monitor down the stretch. And look, you can get it again. It's not like, so, these guys that just got it, theoretically, they shouldn't be able to get it again for a while. But there's certainly no guarantee of that, especially with these new variants, the Omicron in particular, and whichever ones are going to be coming down the pipeline next. There's, so we just got to keep an eye on that. And obviously, too, we have a ton of players that haven't had it recently. And, if this outbreak throughout the league continues, there is a chance that at some point over the next few weeks, the Dolphins could end up having a massive outbreak where they have to put like 18 players on the COVID list. So obviously, hopefully not, knock on wood, all that stuff. I obviously personally don't want any of these guys to get it, because the damage it does to your body is just outrageous. And it just blows my mind that people want to try and live with a virus that not only could kill you when you have it right then and there, but it does so much damage to your internal organs that it, like, you're fucking yourself for the long haul. Like, you're almost assuring, if you get COVID, you're basically just cutting years off your life no matter what. And significant amount of time, because of the kind of damage it does to the human body. And so, to me, people just living with it and accepting it and being like, yeah, we should just operate normally and go to work and go to school and go, to do all these entertainment things and keep mass gathering and going to social events and stuff. Like, it blows my mind. I get why people want to do it. And when it comes to, like, work, I get why people need to do it. But I mean, and frankly, when it comes to individual people, to be fair, it's not really them so much as it is the people in power who don't give a shit and are making the situation, one where we have to, because we have to fucking pay for our own bills and shit like that. But anyway, enough of that. It's just a giant fucking mess, but something we will have to keep an eye on down the stretch. So the final thing is Will Fuller, because there is some news on Will Fuller, and shocker, Brian Flores does not expect him to play for the rest of the season. Shocker. As you can tell, I'm not very shocked. So, The only thing I really have to say about it, though, is no, I'm not shocked about this. I mean, I've been saying it now for a while. I don't expect Fuller to be here. I mean, even way back when the rumors of him, potentially contemplating retirement, I wasn't confident that he was going to come back. Brian Flores said he's got multiple fractures in his fingers, and he's got fucking, he's had setbacks. I personally think it's all bullshit. I just personally don't think he wants to be here. But I will say this, and because I do think I'm not going to go as far as to say that it was the entire reason that he came here. I think Miami does have its own allure. There's no taxes, right? State taxes. So, there's that. He signed a $10 million deal. There were plenty of incentives, and I'm sure he liked all of them. But I do think that part of the reason why he came here was because Watson was going to be coming here. So, and I do firmly believe that Brian Flores and Chris Grier are going to be swinging at that opportunity again this offseason. And I think it's in part because that's part of their plan to keep their jobs, and what Stephen Ross has basically agreed to for them to keep their jobs. And so going into this next season, especially if, expectations for this season weren't met, and so, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does come back because Will Fuller ends up coming to the Dolphins this offseason. So that to me would be like the one situation in which I see Will Fuller back. Other than that, I don't see him coming back. So anyway, there was a few things to talk about, handful of roster moves and so on and so forth. So I did want to get to that. I am going to get out of here. Before I do, make sure you check out the Rave On Sports App, the new fan-driven sports app for all your sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, college sports, whatever you like, they got it. And they're looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play coverage, live chats with other fans and content creators like myself. You can dispute bad play calls. They love that. And look for the links to that in the description box. With that, I am out. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. And, of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro, as well as Instagram at Dolphins_with_Dillon. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.